If you guys want to level up fast and get a ton of diamonds while doing it, you guys need to check out the newest Royale High update. I'm going to give you guys some tips on how you can earn a ton of diamonds with this update. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, basically today is the start of the flowering season, which is essentially kind of like the Easter nature fairy season of Royale High. And with the season typically comes an update with new sets potentially, but also the return of the nature fairy class. Now, I can remember growing up and playing the Nature Fairy class, and it was definitely one of my favorites. And if you guys don't know, when you play the Nature Fairy class, which you'll see background footage of me doing so in the background here, but basically your whole goal is to collect as many eggs as possible and return them to the nest, and you have a total of 10 eggs that you can collect at once. But the catch is that there will be things like freezing you, or your eggs falling into your basket, or stuff becoming foggy, or you can also get buffs where your character becomes bigger. Sometimes you get X-ray vision, you get super speed, stuff like that. And basically, it allows you at the end of the round, if you've earned a total of 50 eggs, or you can carry it over from round to round, you have the option between 2 eggs, one of which is an accessory egg, and the second one is an XP egg. Now, you may be asking me, well, Pommy, what does that have to do with me making diamonds? And you may think that you want to get the accessory egg. However, I'm here to tell you, you 100% every single time want to get the XP egg. And I'm going to explain why this is so beneficial and how it can really help you in Royale High. So starting off, I do want to preface this with, this was actually just released a couple minutes ago. The announcement made by Royale High reads, "Hi students, due to popular demand, we're thrilled to announce the return of the Nature Fairy class, our whimsical egg hunt minigame. Participation to earn adorable season accessories, or if you're lucky, you could earn up to 900 XP. Happy hunting." The flowering update hasn't been fully released just yet, but enjoy the Nature Fairy class for now. So basically, the flowering update isn't fully released as they stated here. However, something that's important to know is the section here they said you can earn up to 900 XP. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, I just explained the 2 different eggs, and I'm going to be clear, I'm not sure if there's new accessories in the accessory egg. I'm not 100% sure about that because they haven't come out and said that there are or if there aren't. However, if you know anything about Royale High values, specifically when it comes to seasonal items, the items that are a part of the egg hunt are notoriously low value. It's because they're things like little skirts, bags, hat accessories, stuff like that, and they're not inherently ugly, but the issue is that they're so easy to get during this time that nobody really wants to trade for them, and so your profit margin on them will not be very high. However, something people are always looking to trade in Royale High is going to be for diamonds, because diamonds are like a universal currency and they are notoriously hard to get. And basically, if you guys don't know, when you redeem an XP egg, the XP you get from the egg can vary. As you guys will see in the background footage, sometimes I got like 76 XP, another time I got like 150 XP, so it does range. However, Royale High is confirmed here you can earn up to 900 XP, which tells me there may be a potential option that if you were to redeem an XP egg to get 900 XP at once, which is roughly a little bit under 3 whole levels. And considering everybody's getting 1800 diamonds per level, that's a substantial amount of diamonds and XP that you could be getting, which is a really good thing. I think some players are still a little bit confused when it comes to leveling up, but XP basically directly correlates to diamonds now, and so this is basically a very easy way for you to get diamonds, to level up quickly, get sparkly star achievements, and unlock new things in Royale High. Now with that in mind, the full update hasn't even been released yet, so I'm not quite sure if there'll be new stuff in the store, maybe a new set, I'm not sure, and I don't want to like share misinformation if I'm not fully sure. However, I think you guys can definitely expect some more updates within the next couple days regarding the flowering season, but I did really quickly want to share with you guys some tips that I have for the egg hunt that you guys will see frequently led to me being in the top 3 of almost every single round, unless I was like really unlucky and kept getting frozen. But basically, the first tip I have for you guys is to just grind your face into the ground. I know that sounds dumb, I know it sounds crazy, and I know it sounds aggressive, but I see a lot of people that fly around in the map and then they'll just like swoop down and grab an egg. Do not do that, because the eggs frequently hide in the tall grass, specifically in between rock formations where the flowers are, because the flower decals, sometimes the eggs will kind of spawn almost beneath them, so it's difficult to see the eggs. And so if you're just like grinding your face into the ground and flying around randomly and just like knocking yourself into walls and stuff like that, personally, I have found that is the easiest way to get eggs. I find that I pick up a lot more eggs because everybody's looking for visible eggs, but not everybody knows that eggs are hidden under certain items or decals. And so if you're getting the eggs that nobody has seen, chances are, especially if they're underneath the flower decal, there'll be like 5 or 6 eggs in the same spot. Whereas if you're just looking for visible eggs, you'll get 1 or 2 eggs at a time, but you could get 5 or 6 eggs all at the same time. Now, the second tip that I had was do not wait until your basket has 10 eggs before you return it to the nest. Because if you guys don't know, there is some trolling that goes on in the Easter minigame or the Easter egg minigame, where basically the fairies, I guess, will knock the eggs out of your basket. And that is a really horrible thing because you could have collected a whole 10 eggs and then boom, you're screwed. So what I personally will do is I just kind of go around the egg or like the nest area in a small circle. And as soon as I complete a full circle, I just go back and put my eggs back in the basket or in the nest, sorry. So that way, even if I lose the eggs in my basket, it's not going to be as much as if I lost 10 eggs. Maybe I only lose 2 or 3, so it's a lot better that way. And also, there will be frequently eggs that spawn actually around the nest. And so what I'll do is as soon as I put my eggs in the nest, I'll go around the nest and usually pick up 2 to 3 more eggs and put them directly back in. That also helps when there is a 2 times egg buff that sometimes comes up, because the less eggs you have in your basket, the more you can actually collect in the short amount of time because you have more slots for the eggs. So you can only collect 5 eggs and still get a full 10 egg basket, which helps you collect more eggs quicker. Now, another thing, and this is simply speculation, so I don't know 100% if this works, but there is a buff in the egg minigame where basically your avatar will increase in size. And this would indicate to me that the bigger your avatar is, the more likely you are to collect more eggs, because I guess the hitbox for your avatar is bigger. Now, this is just an assumption, but because they do have like a feature that makes your avatar bigger, that tells me that the size of your avatar really matters. So personally, when I was doing this, I had my witching hour halo on because it kind of makes my avatar bigger. I could put on the biggest toggle, but I feel like it's a little bit obnoxious. But I would be curious if you guys have noticed that maybe if you make your Royale High avatar bigger, maybe with a poofy skirt, or maybe a lot of hair, or just make it taller, or whatever it might be, let me know if you think that that kind of impacts how many eggs you're collecting. Personally, I did find that when I was a bigger avatar, I was collecting more eggs, but it's a little bit trickier to be a bigger avatar because your chances of running into objects and getting flung across the map are a lot bigger. Another tip I would have for you guys is stay away from the glowing mushrooms. I know there will sometimes be eggs sitting on top of them. Do not fall for it. When you go up to a glowing mushroom to get an egg, it will basically like shoot you up in the air because you bounce off of it, and that wastes a ton of time. If you do end up getting hit by one of the glowing mushrooms or whatever and you get shot up into the air, double click your spacebar again, or if you're on mobile, just unfly, so that way you will fall faster, because if you're flying, it will take you longer to fall from what I've noticed. So you just basically unfly, let yourself fall to the ground, and then start flying again. Another thing too is when you're collecting eggs, I think a lot of people understand this, but don't be collecting eggs walking around or running. It's a lot less fast than just flying around. And also, if you can, which is something I've noticed, wear your wings from your designated, element, or if you just have random wings, wear those. Because personally, I found that the wings will also almost act as like an extension of my body and help me collect more eggs. And I found that that was very useful. Again, I'm not 100% sure if the hitbox is actually a real thing, but my personal perception based on the fact that they do have like a body magnifying or growth buff would be that that is actually something that happens in the minigame, and it actually does help you. And so personally, if you guys could make your avatars a little bit bigger, not obnoxiously bigger, but just big enough so that your hitbox and your reach is a little bit bigger, it could definitely help you collect more eggs at once rather than having a smaller avatar and having to move a lot more just to collect a singular egg. Now, the final thing too that I wanted to suggest to you guys was do not just stay around the spawn, but also don't go to the very edges of the map. I see people kind of doing one of the two, where they'll either stay right at the spawn so that when there's like an egg explosion, they get a bunch of eggs. And then I also see other people that's noticed that the center area is oversaturated, and so they'll go all the way out to the outskirts of the map to collect eggs on the outskirts, which both these methods are fine and they're going to get you eggs, but they aren't the fastest way to get eggs. Personally, I found that the easiest way to get eggs quickest, without like other people snatching them out before you have an opportunity to get them, is by going around the middle of the map where they have those weird rock formations and tunnels. On top of the rock formations, you will notice there's a lot of eggs spawning on there, because players oftentimes don't even recognize that there's stuff on top of the rock formations, and they'll just go around them, or underneath them, or around to the sides of the map. However, you guys will notice that there will frequently be times, especially after the egg drop, where there'll be a bunch of eggs on top of those middle rock formations, and that is a very easy way to get a ton of eggs and then very quickly return them back to the nest in the center of the map, basically optimizing your time. You have to think about it from a perspective of not necessarily like the coolest egg you can get or whatever it may be, but how many eggs you can get and the amount of time that you were spending flying around, the amount of time it takes you to return to the nest, the potential for you to get flung by a mushroom or to get frozen. All those things will impact the amount of eggs that you can get directly. And so these are just the tips that I personally used, and you guys will see in the footage, that led me to basically land on the leaderboard every single round, unless there's someone that was really, really good, which props to you guys. But regardless, I thought this was actually a very good method, and I would definitely recommend that you guys would redeem your eggs for the XP egg rather than the accessory egg. Of course, if you like the Easter accessories, that's great. By all means, like, go ahead and get those. However, if you're looking to optimize your value and your earnings through this event and basically optimize your time in Royale High, I would 100% recommend that you guys just get the XP egg, because personally, I prefer to just get diamonds, and then you can use your diamonds to trade for anything, because even if you're trying to trade Easter items, which I'm not sure if there's new items or not, however, a lot of the same items, at least that I unlocked, were the exact same as last year, and those items just, they aren't traded for much, and when it comes to trading for like your dream item, it's hard to trade items for items because people always have their preferences, and even if an item or a trade is fair in theory, someone's preferences will oftentimes influence their judgment and will make you be forced to overpay for a pretty generic item. However, what isn't typically up for debate is the value of a diamond in Royale High. Everybody wants diamonds because diamonds can be used for anything. And so I definitely think that diamonds have, it's called more purchasing power, which means that they're just more, you can use them in a variety of ways more than you could with an Easter item. So I definitely recommend, if your goal is to farm and to get a bunch of dream items during this event, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you use the tips I provide in this video and also exclusively purchase the XP egg, so that way you can optimize your earnings and use the diamonds you collected to trade for your dream items. But regardless, let me know your tips and tricks down below for the egg hunting event. I know I kept calling it the Easter egg hunting event, which I know not everybody celebrates Easter. It's just kind of the first thing that comes to mind and just kind of like a slip of my mind. I know it's called the flowering class, or flowering class. But at the end of the day, I just accidentally kept calling it that, so my bad. But regardless, let me know your tips and tricks on how you personally optimize the amount of earnings you get while playing this class, and let me know maybe some of the best prizes you've gotten while unlocking things. And with that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!